Please bring up your note catcher. Please bring up your note catcher. And your note catcher will be the deck that we'll review today, and it'll also be the guide that we will cover in detail, the focus group data collection guide. So you'll need those, but please have your note catcher up and ready to go. And if you need the note catcher again, please let us know and we can drop it in the chat for you. Thank you, Alex. One more minute to get folks in the room.
Just want to say I'm excited to see everyone. I know it's middle of the week right back after spring break, so super excited to see you all. I know it's a lot, and we're thankful that you're here.
Okay, it's 3:32 and we are going to get started because we have so much to cover. So thank you again. Like Deborah said, we know it's after spring break. We hope that you all had a great spring break and welcome back. And let's jump in. So just housekeeping. If you just joined, please rename yourself and include your first and last name and include your district so we can know where you're from. We want to see your faces if possible. So please have your video on if possible. We will be using the chat. We're going to welcome you to put things in the chat and Q&A. So Q&A, if you have a question specifically, drop it in the Q&A so that we can capture that, and we'll do a FAQ document to answer those questions. So if you have a specific question as we go along, please put your questions in the Q&A. We will be using the chat. So please, if you have a thought or comment, we'll ask you to put in the chat. And then reactions, we love reactions. So if somebody says something that resonates with you, hearted, do a smiley face or something, we're good with that. So we're going to jump right in to the next slide. I am Dr. LaTanya Smith. I am working with my colleague, Alex, who you have seen before, Alex Holtanowski. Y'all, I have practiced saying her last name because I call her Alex K, but I was like, I really want to make sure y'all know how to say her name. So Alex and I are the training leads and district coaches that you all will be seeing monthly and in the check-ins. And so we also have Dr. Sarah Gudenkoff, who is the project lead for the team. And we're excited to have Deborah Humphrey here from TEA, who is leading this project. And so thank you, Deborah, for joining us today. So the session overview, we have a packed session today, but we want you to leave with everything that you need to feel comfortable collecting data with focus groups, with the focus group. So please ask your questions and stop us if you have thoughts. So the session overview, we will have focus group 101, section 1. Section 2 will be planning for focus groups. And then section 3 will be conducting focus groups. And then section 4, we'll talk about how to analyze focus group data. The objectives for this session. You're going to work through the focus group planning worksheet. You'll have time. You'll be better prepared. You'll be better prepared to work through the focus group planning worksheet. You'll be able to recruit peers to participate in the focus groups. You'll collect focus group data, and you'll be prepared to analyze that focus group data. So let's jump into section 101, focus groups 101. So what and why a focus group? So a focus group is a group of people that we bring together to participate in a guided discussion, and you're sharing ideas and opinions. Researchers, who are you, the teacher researchers, you obtain information with the goal of understanding a variety of opinions, but you're not trying to reach a consensus. You're not trying to get everyone to agree. You're trying to gather information. Why it's great? It's because it's less time required than informative one-on-one interviews. It gives you an opportunity to have a larger sample size. And it uses a deeper dive into insights obtained from other methods. So in comparison to like a survey, you can use a focus group to really understand what folks are thinking and feeling and experiencing. So really quickly, we want to know, you can do it in the chat, you can come off the chat, you can come off mute, but we want to know, have you participated in a focus group and what was your experience with the focus group? So anyone can share, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. And please feel free to use the chat.
Hi.
Hi.
Recently in a focus group with a university student who pulled parents and teachers and was asking about, I don't know how much I can say, I don't know if it's secret or not, but just some ideas about parent-teacher relationships. And I thought that was really interesting to have us all around the same table and sharing our experiences. Um, we got to, it was like podcast style, so it was pretty interesting. I think it would have helped to have another meeting to kind of regroup and assess kind of what we thought about afterward, but I mean, I thought it was really beneficial to hear some of those parent experiences.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And that's exactly true. That's why focus groups are so awesome and why we're starting with the focus group. I see some notes in the chat. Mr. Davis, first time. No, I've never been in a focus group. Ms. Lopez, thank you for sharing. Dr. Davis, yes, I participated in a focus group. I've also run research using focus group at the university level. Great, great to hear that. Any other experiences with focus groups? Okay. Well, you're in the right place. We're going to get you prepared. So the focus groups, the how, the core features of a focus group. The people, the participants have something in common, such as staffing role, grade taught, or other lived experiences. In this case, it's teachers on your campus. Those are the people that will be a part of the focus group. The group size of each focus group ranges from 4 to 8 individuals, depending on the complexity of the topic. We actually have a guide to show you how many folks you will need for your focus groups. So we will guide you through that. Questions. Questions are focused and sequenced strategically, starting with more general questions and moving to more specific questions. Guess what? You also don't have to create your questions because we've already created them for you, but you will notice that they start more general and they move to more specific questions. The goal, there is no push for agreement or consensus among the group. Rather, the goal is to gather input to support the decision making. And in this case, we're gathering the information to give to TEA to make some decisions, right? And so that's the point of the focus groups. You're not trying to get anyone to agree. The environment is comfortable and non-threatening, allowing respondents to open up and describe how they feel. And so we also have in the guide where to conduct your focus groups to ensure that there is a comfortable environment and everyone feels comfortable sharing. So we're going to take a few minutes. In the note catcher is the focus group data collection guide. I also emailed it to you, but we're going to give you about 5 minutes. I know some of you are like me, so I would have read through that thing last night. Just I felt like I knew what I was walking into. And it's okay if you did not. So we're going to give you about 5 minutes. I know it's not a lot of time to just scan the data collection guide, and then we'll come back. And we want to hear some wonderings that you have from after looking at the guide. So we'll give you about 5 minutes. And we'll come back at 3:45. Hi, Naomi. Thank you for joining.
I am so
We are just,
sorry. Let me apologize. I had to get my tech team to help me again. I'm so
you're
sorry.
okay. You're okay. We're just reviewing the focus group data collection guide. You have time. So I dropped it in the chat for you. So we're taking a few minutes to review it and we'll
Okay.
get you caught up. You haven't missed much. So you're
Okay,
fine.
thank
Welcome
you
and
so
thank you.
much. So sorry.
Thank you. Not a problem. Okay, I know that was fast and furious, but would love for you to put in the chat or come off mute and share a wondering that you have with the full group about the tool and about the process, something that you may be concerned about, or something that you want to make sure you understand before the end of this session. If we have no questions, that means we did a really, really, really good job at that tool. But I don't know if everyone had a lot of time to read that tool because it's deep. So any thoughts? We would love to hear you. Mr. Davis, did you come off mute?
Yes, ma'am. It is very thoughtfully put together. I think I'm going to have a hard time messing this up because it is kind of step by step, which I love. I might have missed over this part. Now I see there's a maximum number of people that you would like to have in your focus group, but is there a minimum number of people that we should have in a focus group? Like I don't want it to be just me and one other person, but scheduling wise, if that happens, do we look for another opportunity to have more people in the group, or is one person okay? And that would one person be okay in that focus group? I guess is my question.
So the goal would be to have at least 2 individuals so that it's not just an individual interview. And because with focus groups, there's a lot of group dynamics that maybe I say something that sparks something that another person is like, oh, you're right, that resonates with me, or I have a contradictory experience with that. So part of the focus group experience is really having, I would say, at least 2 participants. So when we talk about it, and we'll go through this in section 1 around planning, when we talk about like recruitment and identifying their target number of teachers we want to invite, and then the number of focus groups that we will have, if you end up only having 3 people sign up for the focus groups, then we would only want to host 1 focus group. If you are having troubles getting more than 1 person to sign up, then we can kind of work together to troubleshoot and say, maybe we need to identify a different time to host. We'll kind of think that through.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for the insightful question as well. I see a lot more questions around kind of like the logistics as well. So just to clarify, we'll have, oh, and I missed one about, I'm gonna jump to this. We'll have multiple focus groups on each campus. Correct. So the goal is to have, I would say, to offer at least 2 focus groups, just because it allows people more flexibility in signing up for a time. We know that teacher time, hence the study, is limited. So we want to offer more opportunities for them to engage. Again, if you end up only having 3 people sign up, then I would only hold 1 focus group.
Yeah, there's another question around why did we decide not to do a signed informed consent?
Yes, I missed that one. And we do not have a signed informed consent because we're not asking for them to provide any, we're really clear in that we don't want them speaking about individual students or naming specific people. So we were just doing a kind of verbal consent of having everyone just say like, yes, they're agreeing to participate. If that's something that you'd feel more comfortable with, doing a written consent form, we can provide a sample of that as well. But just in the previous work that we've done in similar kind of studies, we haven't done a written consent form. Also, the way that the data is going to be used, we're not doing any individual share out of responses. That's all going to be at the aggregate level. And if there are any quotes that are used, they'll be completely de-identified.
Yeah. So since we have those questions, I think we can go ahead and jump into the next section, Alex, which will hopefully get most of your questions answered.
Yes. So we're going to jump in, and as LaTanya said, completely understand that's a lot of information in the data collection guide. Our goal is to have kind of all of the nitty-gritty information presented for you in that guide. And then today we're going to go over in as much detail as we can, kind of each of those sections. So preparing for the focus groups, conducting the focus groups, and then analyzing the focus group data. Again, we're covering a lot in only an hour. So that's why that focus group data collection guide is so long. We wanted to be able to provide as specific of direction as possible to help kind of streamline this process for you. We're also going to be here afterwards to support you as well as TEA. So don't feel like this is a, here's all the information, good luck. We're here to support you, so don't worry at all. As I said, the second section today is going to be focusing on actually preparing for the focus groups. So the first step in preparing for the focus group is actually identifying the teachers who you're going to recruit to participate. Our goal when recruiting teachers is to reach saturation. Saturation occurs when no new themes, ideas, or insights emerge from additional focus group discussions. This indicates that enough data has been collected to fully understand the topic being studied, and the data are not based on isolated opinions. Our goal is to have 20% of all the instructional staff on your campus participating in the focus group. Once you have the target number of participants, so say if it was 8, to determine then if your target, or if you had 8 instructional staff on your campus, then your target would be 2. So then to determine the total number of focus groups to hold, you would want to divide that number by 5. Obviously, if 2 is your target, I would still open it up and offer 2 different focus groups time. Because again, your target's 2, but if you get more than that, that's phenomenal. 20% is kind of the minimum we're looking for. Again, we recommend holding at least 2 focus groups to maximize potential participation. In that data collection guide, there's a planning worksheet that you can use to guide you to determine the total number of teachers that, again, you want to target. Think about that as a minimum. And then the focus groups to offer and host. On page 9, there's also a grade level planning table as well as a subject level planning table. And these kind of help you think about if you've already you've recruited and you have all these 3rd grade teachers that have signed up, but you're missing like kindergarten and first, then you'll want to do some targeted recruitment. So the table on there kind of allows you to just jot down of these are the numbers that I've been able to recruit so far. Who else do I need to be targeting? So scheduling and hosting considerations are something else that we'll want to consider. We recommend that you identify a 50 to 60-minute time slot to facilitate the focus groups. Potential times that you can consider holding a focus group could be teacher planning periods, collaborative planning times, staff meetings, and before and after school. And we're really, we'll work with you to kind of brainstorm some creative ideas around this. And then again, we recommend providing the option for at least those 2 different focus group times. If you don't end up hosting both of them, that's completely fine. We just want to, again, maximize potential participation. When thinking about where to host in your building, really, you just want to find a quiet location where recording will be successful and people can sit in a group. So you don't want to be in a big auditorium. Think about like any empty classrooms, a break room, somewhere where it's more of an intimate, closer setting where you can also record and hear what everyone is talking about. You can use a planning worksheet, again, in that data collection guide to document the days, times, and locations of the focus groups. So we kind of talked about this as well, but we also provided some recruitment materials for you. So after you've identified the target number of staff to participate and when and where you're going to host the focus groups, it's time to begin actually recruiting the participants. We recommend this strategy, obviously, whatever most fits the needs and experiences of your campus, adapt. But this is kind of how we would approach it. And so first, send out an initial email invitation asking teachers to sign up for one of the focus group slots. In the data collection guide, we have sample email scripts as well as a sample Google form that you could use and modify to include your specific focus group days and times. So you can just copy and paste, modify to meet your needs, but want to make it as easy as possible for y'all. In the email, you can also include a link to the one-pager that explains the purpose of the study and why they're being asked to participate. So rather than putting all that information that's presented on that one-pager in the email, you can keep it short and sweet and then have that attached. And depending on the number of staff who initially sign up, and again, the assortment of grade levels and subject areas of instructional staff, you may need to send out an additional follow-up email invitation. And so again, using that planning table on page 9 and 10, you can track the number of staff who've signed up and then really look at what staff do I need to target? What areas am I lacking in to make sure that I'm really getting those diverse perspectives from all the grade levels, all the subjects. Once you have the focus group set, we recommend sending out a confirmation email. So if you offered 2 different time slots and everyone ended up signing up for the same one, or if you allowed people to select multiple different time slots that they were available and everyone was able to be at the first focus group time, you'll just want to send out a confirmation email saying that thank you for signing up. This is the focus group you'll be attending this day, time, and location. We also recommend that the day before or the morning of the focus group to send out a reminder email. We know this is a busy time of the year. So a little reminder nudge like, hey, you signed up for this, don't forget about it. Here's the focus group protocol, some questions that we'll be discussing to give them kind of a headspace to start thinking about it is a good reminder. Again, as I mentioned, example emails that you can use to recruit participants are included in the data collection guide. So you can just copy and paste those over. All right, so we just covered a lot on how to actually plan for the focus groups. In the data collection guide on page 4, there's a checklist that you can use to help you prepare. So you can go through and just like check each box. So we're gonna have you spend 2 minutes independently reviewing this planning checklist, and then just come back prepared to share any wonderings that you have in terms of what are the next steps to start preparing for the focus groups. So we'll come back at 3:59. we'll come back at 4. That was a end of the minute. All right, again, we know that was a very quick kind of ask for you to read through that. But after having perused the planning checklist, what wonderings do you have? Or what task are you most worried about?
May I ask a
There's a
question?
question in the chat. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
And then
Um,
I'll read the question in the chat.
Okay. So I should first send out like a feeler, email survey to my campus, and anyone that responds, I kind of look into how many focus groups I'm going to need, or do I purposely go to people and pull? Because it kind of seems like I'm just asking anybody and then I see what we get. Is that correct?
That would be the approach that we would recommend. I would say start with just sending it out to everyone. And then based on your responses, you'll kind of use like that planning table to say, I was able to reach, if you're in a K-5 building, like the K-2 team, but I'm really missing that 3 to 5 perspective. So then we would take a targeted approach in that. So I would say first do a big, like, send it out to everyone, and then based on those responses, send out a feeler to say like, oh, we're looking for some more feedback from these grade levels. And
The
then,
question in the chat,
Yep.
I'll read it. I'm sorry, Alex. The question in the chat is about why do you need a Zoom account? We're all in the same room. Great question. And we're going to dive into that. But we're really trying to help you with transcription because you don't want to do that by hand. And so Alex will go into details as to, setting up a Zoom account. We'll get you set up with a Zoom account. If you don't have one, don't worry about that. We've thought about that and teaching you or walking you through how to have that transcribe the session for you. So we're trying to take advantage of all the tools that we have to make it a little easier for you all.
any other questions or wonderings?
I have one more.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I have a campus that's pretty involved. There probably a lot of them might want to participate.
Okay.
And so because we're only pre-K to 1, soon to be 2, but right now 1. So what if everyone says, what if I get really strong feedback and it's over the 20%? I saw there's like a little email where I just send, we have enough, like, thanks for volunteering. Do I hand pick who I want in the focus group at that point, or take who emailed first, I guess?
So I would do, again, because we're trying to reach saturation in terms of different experiences.
Right,
So looking at your staffing, even if you're only like a K2 building, making sure that all the grade levels are covered.
right,
Area, like years of experience. So if there's some new
Okay.
teachers versus like teachers that have been there for a while, maybe ones that have more experience, but they're newer to your specific campus, ones who
Okay.
hit your campus for a lot of times. So
okay,
it'll be an informed handpicking to make sure
Okay.
you have a diversity of experiences. And then you'll have to go through and send like, thank you so much for agreeing to participate. But unfortunately, we had a ton of people interested. We're going to have additional methods for data to be collected and for you to be involved in the time study. So look out for that.
okay, perfect. That answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And a little bit to that too, you have to think about, you're thinking about all of your teachers, so your elective teachers, special education teachers, so you want to get a good mix of all of the folks that are the instructional staff on your campus. So that's a good problem to have.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I know section 2 was fast and furious. Section 3 and 4 are also going to be fast and furious. Section 2 is section 3, excuse me, is jumping into actually conducting the focus group. So first, we're going to talk about very quickly best practices in conducting focus groups, and then what your role is going to be during that. And then we're going to discuss the specific logistics of how to record the focus group. So we'll go through the specific steps for that Zoom recording that we're going to do, and it kind of explain why. So first, when facilitating a focus group, there are best practices that you should follow in order to collect reliable and useful information. So first, you want to make sure that you create a safe and open environment. So you should foster a sense of trust, encourage equal participation. If you notice one person speaking up a little bit more than others, kind of probe and ask what some individuals are thinking or how they feel about someone's response. And again, reiterate that everything that is shared is completely confidential. Second, you should establish some ground rules, including that all opinions will be respected. There are no right or wrong answers. And we also want to stay on topic. We know that there's a lot of feelings around teacher time and workloads. We have a set of 6 specific questions to really guide our discussion. And again, they'll have additional opportunities to share some more insights, but we have specific questions to guide. And then lastly, as a facilitator, it's really important to be an active listener. So you really want to be probing more for depth in listening much more than you speak. So really think of yourself solely as a facilitator and just engaging and being the facilitator of the discussion between the participants. So your role during the focus group, again, is the facilitator. You want to be engaging the participants in a discussion with each other around the topic. You're also going to ensure that the focus group is audio recorded using the Zoom account that we're going to provide to you. And then as well as a secondary backup method, such as like a phone or recorder, just so we ensure that we have that. And then you're also going to take some high-level written notes on the focus group protocol. We don't want you to have to rely on written notes though, because going through and typing those up, transcribing all of that is a lot of work. So we're going to have you actually audio record the discussion. So we talked briefly about consent and confidentiality. So as the focus group protocol, which is presented in the data collection guide, provides you with specific questions that you'll ask during the focus group. In addition to the questions, that also provides you with a script to follow when beginning and ending the focus group. We want to highlight the beginning as the introduction covers a really important area of confidentiality. It's really important to note that the focus group discussion is completely confidential and that only overall themes will be shared. If any quotes are used, they'll be completely confidential and won't be noted as from any specific individual, any person representing a grade, subject area. It'll just be from a staff member. It's also important to emphasize that you're asking participants to be as specific as possible while avoiding using any student names, staff names, or any other type of identifiable information. This is important in general, but even more so as the discussion is going to be audio recorded. So we don't want to be going down and talking about a specific student, a specific staff member, keeping it specific, but not using any identifiable information. So as we mentioned, the focus groups are going to be audio recorded using Zoom. This is a really important step because Zoom will auto transcribe the discussion for you. And this is going to save you an immense amount of time and work. On page 12 of the data collection guide, it shows step-by-step instructions on how you're going to audio record and not video record the focus group. So I'm going to share my screen to walk you through this very quickly. Once I have it pulled up. You will also be receiving an email with the invitation to, I'm going to switch my screen really quick, to set up your Zoom account through Maya. That's going to be your district name and then your campus name. So this account will allow you to auto transcribe, and then it will also create a generated summary for you to, again, ease that process of transcription, as well as the initial analysis piece for a couple focus groups.
And while Alex is pulling it up, we know that some of you may already have a Zoom account. We're asking you to only use the Zoom account that we provide for this study. So if you have a Zoom account, great, but use the one that we're going to provide for you to do the recording.
All right, so unfortunately, I can't show you how I'm doing it because I'm in a Zoom meeting right now, but there are screenshots in here on how to record the focus group. It's pretty easy, but we want to make sure you follow these specific steps. So once you log into your Maya provided Zoom account, you are going to select new meeting and join with computer audio. So new meeting and then join with computer audio. Once you're on, you want to make sure that you turn off the video, but ensure that the audio is still turned on. I'm going to zoom in this really quick. Most of you probably know what this looks like already, but just make sure video has that little X through it. Audio is on. This will ensure that we have the discussion that's going to be recorded, but we're not going to see anyone. Once everyone arrives, this is when you're going to begin to record the meeting. But it's really important that when you go, you'll select more on the ellipses, go to record, and then do record to the cloud. You have to record it to the cloud because that's the only way that the focus group will be transcribed. If you record it to your computer, it won't be transcribed and it won't generate an auto summary for you. So this is probably along with turning off the video, keeping on your audio are the most important steps. Once you have this all set up, you're good to go. Even if you forget to push stop recording, it'll still end up and upload straight to the cloud in that Maya provided Zoom account. We definitely recommend, I'm going to go back to, hold on, update my share. We recommend, if possible, practicing with a friend, someone to just practice setting this up. Even with yourself, I went through and did it myself to make sure that I was following the directions correctly. And then it'll also help you practice to see how the transcription goes into your Zoom account and then what the summary looks like. So even just going and I just sat and recorded myself for a couple minutes and then I went in and tested everything. Just recommend doing that. So that just takes off another layer of stress on top of that, just feeling smooth and comfortable with all of that. All right, so similar to the planning checklist, we've also created a checklist for you to ensure that all the necessary steps have been completed prior to and following the focus group. We ask that you review this in greater detail, but there are a couple pieces I want to emphasize. So first, if possible, arrive to the focus group space at least 20 minutes before, I'd say at least 10 before the start time. When you go to the focus group space, bring with you a physical copy of the protocol, a writing utensil, so you can take those high-level summary notes, your laptop, a charger, and then a secondary backup recording device, such as your phone. Once you're actually in the focus group space, move the seats so they're in either a circle or a U shape. This allows everyone to see one another and just feels more like a conversation rather than if you were all sitting in desks like students. It's really wanting to induce like some comfort and discussion between everyone. Then place your laptop in the center of either the U or the circle on an elevated surface. This will ensure that the microphone captures everyone. Once everyone arrives, that's when you can begin to record the meeting following the directions that we just covered. You should also begin the secondary recording device, placing it in the center of the group near your laptop. So again, we'll have you go through these in more detail, but this is kind of what you do right before the focus group and then after the focus group. All right, section 4. This is the last one today. And again, I know we're moving quick, but this one is discussing how to analyze the focus group data. So another huge benefit of using Zoom to audio record is that in addition to the transcription, a summary of the key points are created. So we're going to walk you through how to access this generated summary, as well as what steps you'll take to further analyze this data. So the data collection guide, beginning on page 18, outlines the steps to take to compile the data from the focus groups that you facilitate, and then how to analyze the resulting data. So we ask you to read through this after the training, and again, reach out if you have any additional questions or are looking for additional support. Today, we're going to talk about the overarching steps that you're going to take to compile and analyze the data, and then walk you through an example of how to analyze the data, pulling high-level themes. So after completing a focus group, the first step will be to collect and organize the data. Again, when you Zoom record it, it'll automatically be uploaded to your Zoom account, and you'll be able to download both the full focus group transcript as well as the generated summary. It pulls out high level, like pretty detailed themes and organizes all the information, and you'll save both of those. You're then going to read through the transcript in its entirety, as well as that generated summary. And you're going to update the summary to make sure that it adequately summarizes what was covered in the focus group. Also, if there are any quotes that really stand out to you and that really resonate with you, you can go through and highlight those in the transcript and copy them up to make sure that you're reminded of, oh, this would be a good quote to use. Now that you have the information pulled from Zoom and it's accessible on your computer, you're going to work to compile the data from multiple focus groups into one analysis template. Or if you only had to facilitate one focus group, it'll be just reorganizing the data onto the analysis template. So think about it as us kind of transforming the data so that we are organizing it in a way so that it's answering each of the specific focus group questions. So you'll read through each summary and copy and paste it into the applicable space on the analysis template. For example, if a summary is talking about the challenges related to assessments and the impact that that has on teacher time, this would fall under the question asking about challenges. This is really the first step in beginning to identify themes. You're organizing the data to help make sense of it and to answer those specific questions. Once all the data from each of the focus groups are compiled into the single analysis template, you're going to work question by question, identifying themes and patterns. We're going to work through an example of this in a couple slides. Then once you've identified these themes and patterns, you'll write up a summary for each question. So jumping ahead really quick, we want to show you kind of what your end goal, your end deliverable will look like. So after you've conducted your focus groups, you will have pulled in your summary data into this first row in this table. And this is also what we want you to have completed by that next April training. So this will include the summary of the responses that are pulled in, again, organized by question. And this is just an example table from that analysis template. Then you'll be working to identify these patterns and themes, and then writing up this end summary that's really just summarizing these patterns and themes. By the end, it'll basically be, here's your question, here's your summary response to that question of what you learned from the focus group. We are going to give you 3 minutes to kind of go through and just read through this this example analysis, kind of noting like how the different highlighted areas were brought down to patterns and themes, and then what that end summary looks like. And then I'll walk through it with you. So just take 3 minutes to read that, and we'll come back together at 4:22. All right. Now that you had just a quick couple minutes to look through that example analysis, I want to talk you through kind of our process of going through and working from these generated summaries to kind of compiling the data and then writing up a summary that really reflects kind of what is being asked. So my first step in analyzing the data is, again, identifying those patterns and themes. So to do this, I read through each of the response summaries and highlight tasks or duties that are noted, specifically tasks or duties, because this core question that was asked is, what are the tasks or duties that are non-instructional but essential to teaching your student success? So I go through and I am highlighting those for each of those focus group responses. If it's, after reading through and highlighting all of those responses, I then am going to type the identified themes or patterns that were emerging in that third row. If a theme is mentioned more than once, I document this. So for example, communication with parents was mentioned in both focus groups. So I note this, that it's mentioned in 2 of the focus groups. On the other hand, collaboration with colleagues was only noted once, so I don't note anything. After I've documented the overarching themes and patterns that were coming from those summaries, I'll write up a summary of all of the identified themes. And this summary should really be an answer to the question. So in this example, that core question, what are the tasks or duties that are non-instructional, but essential to teaching your student success? The summary responses that teachers highlighted key non-instructional tasks essential for student success, including communication with parents, managing paperwork, and fostering a positive classroom culture. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but you can see it's kind of just highlighting and emphasizing all of those themes that emerged from those focus groups. So again, this is how we're going to be working to kind of translate all the data that's collected from the different focus groups that you hold into one location. By the next April training, this is the goal, that you'll have this analysis template, just one of them completed, that has the data from all of the focus groups you held. If you only had to hold one focus group and you were able to get great participation in that, it's still working through the exact same steps. You just don't have to compile the data from multiple different locations. It's just working and compiling it from the one Zoom transcription and summary. You'll still go through and do the full analysis of it. Again, we know this was a lot. We only have 5 minutes left, and we're going to be going through and talking about kind of next steps. But we want you to know that we're not just leaving you hanging. We are going to be here to support you through that, and to reach out if you have any questions on that. But I'm going to hand it back over to LaTanya to close us out.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to come off Zoom. Thank you. So yes, I am stressing that we know that it's a lot of information, but we're not gone anywhere. If you have a question, you have my email address, you reach out to me and we will get your question answered and provide additional support if needed. What's coming up? So we're here at the teacher researcher training. And then so you have until March 19th through April the 11th, a little less than a month, to do your focus groups and data collection. And then we know that STAR testing is coming up. We know all the things. And so we're trying to be mindful of that. So you have a little less than a month to do your focus groups and data collection. Next slide. So your next steps, read through the focus group data collection guide. Take time, spend some time with it. As Mr. Davis said, it's going to be hard to mess it up, because we have thought through and put ourselves in a position of what do we need to do as a teacher? If I was doing this, what do we need? So please spend some time with the data collection guide. Set up your Maya provided Zoom account. You will get an email either today or tomorrow morning for you to set up your account. It will probably come from somebody in our department. His name is Sebastian Roman. It will likely come from him. I don't know, Alex, will Sebastian's name be on it, you think?
I'm not sure if it'll come from either Sebastian or if it'll just be a Zoom invitation.
It'll be a Zoom, but if you see a Zoom invite, it's coming from Maya. You're joining the Maya team with the Zoom. Work through the focus group planning worksheet, page 4 of the guide. By the April training, you have conducted your campus focus groups and summarized the data using the analysis template. That's what the next training we will be discussing during the next training. Your principals and the district quality team will also get a high-level overview of what you all are doing. So you have support as well from the district and your principals on your campus. So they'll be able to provide some support as well, because they're going to do a coaching session next week. So we're going to give them a high-level overview and the guide that you all have. So they'll have access to that as well. And next slide. Next slide. Thank you. That's all I want y'all to see. Thank you. Everything, including this recording, will be uploaded to the Information Hub. So if you want to spend time listening to this recording, go back. It'll be on the Hub. The exit ticket, Alex is going to drop the exit ticket for you all in the chat so that you can complete the exit ticket. And we do have a question from Dr. Davis. We will have the informed consent. We'll add that to the Hub as well for you all to access. And then Dr. Davis, oh, okay. I think, Alex, you answered her question. Okay, cool. But yes, we will get the consent uploaded to the Hub for you all to access. And the exit ticket is here for you all. Any last minute questions that we can answer? Okay, thank y'all so much. Please complete the exit ticket and we will see y'all soon. And do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Happy to help. Thank y'all so much for all you're doing.
To mention one more thing, the exit ticket is going to ask for your name. That is not because we want to know specifically what feedback you're giving. It's only because that's going to be for attendance purposes. So if you can please indicate that you participated and completed this training today synchronously, that would be great. For those who aren't, or if you're able to not attend a future training, we'll just allow you to complete it asynchronously and indicate that moving forward. So we're not looking at, I know we wouldn't normally like to ask for your names, but we just want to be able to know kind of who has been able to participate synchronously and asynchronously.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you all for doing that. That's the TEA side. We as part of our grant requirements, we have to see who's doing trainings and who's participating. So thank you for filling that out for us and helping us to track that attendance to show how well the districts are engaging in the program and the grants that they've signed up for.
All right,
And
thank you so much for that.
joining. Yeah, we
Thank
know
y'all.
it was a lot of information. Appreciate you all. Reach out with any questions. All of this information is on the Hub. We will be creating that informed consent. We'll send that out to you as well as add that to the Hub.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for the questions, Dr. Davis. Appreciate it.